Ready when you are.
Okay, and we are live if everything's working. So we're here at the finals of the 7-point Singleton, and I'm here with Eric, and we will be your hosts, I guess, right, Eric?
Yeah, that's correct.
So what kind of decks are we looking at?
We are looking at a blue-white mid-range control by Andrew Lyons that has been the monster of this tournament. He's 16-0. He hasn't even lost a duel.
What?
Yeah, very, very dominant versus
Cyril,
that has perhaps the most dominant deck archetype that we've seen in this format for at least past couple of months, with a modern red, big red burn kind of deck.
Wow, yeah, because I think in general, red wins a lot, right, of these Singleton tournaments.
Yeah, red is generally considered as the most powerful color.
Is that just because it's more consistent then? Just go with burn and...
Yeah, I think that it's very... Consistency is the key word, I think. It's what makes it really good. And since you have all this burn, I mean, a safe life total is... you need so much more than if you play against other kinds of deck. So I think this is like the third tournament in a row or something like that where mono red has been represented in the final.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So that's, and I see he's got a couple of, I don't know if you have the deck list, because I've got his deck list here of the mono red. I really like to see cards like Rock of Courageous and Brothers of Fire. I think is really cool.
Rock of Courageous is really good in this format.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Since the thing is, since you only have 2 lightning bolts, with chain lightning and lightning bolt available, 3 toughness creatures are not as vulnerable to removal as they are in constructed. So basically, I mean, rock is solid, rock solid. Phantom cool. Monster, same card but blue, also amazing. Even War Mammoth is solid.
Really?
In this format because...
Wow. And I see he's also playing with the Gauntlet of Might, so that helps.
Oh, yeah.
And are those 2 cards, because I see they're drawn, is that artist proofs?
No, they are proxies.
They're proxies, yeah, because you see he's got a Falling Star. Some nice art on there.
High quality proxies are allowed in this format, in order to make it more available to new players. I think that's one of the great things about this format. It's so easy to build a competitive deck. You don't need to own a complete Power 9 and a full playset of Underground Sea in order to build something that can actually be very competitive. And also the format is so unexplored still. I think the deck construction part of the format is still very... There's still a lot of room for creativity, which I think is great, and which is what my preferred format at the moment.
I see we're just getting a message from Cyril that he can't mute us, so let me see if I can help him there.
That's going to be a problem for him if...
Yeah. Always technical difficulties. So I'm trying to help him here in the chat to explain how to mute us. Because I think when he goes on our names, he'll see 3 dots.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I muted the commentaries, but still hear you guys. That seems pretty weird. Hope it doesn't have the stream open.
Yeah, you should just be in the whereby room and not have the stream open. Then it should work. Yeah, because I can mute you.
Problem is, if you mute him, doesn't you mute him for Andrew as well then?
No, he can what he can do is just what we did as well. Like I've muted Cyril and Andrew.
Just hear the echo. That's pretty weird.
Then maybe he should get off. I'm just gonna ask like the obvious questions just to ask to make sure.
Have you tried switching it on and off again?
Yeah. Okay, so good. So he's got, that is the YouTube link he had on. Yeah, then you hear us on YouTube. Yours discussing the deck. Because I wanted actually to talk a little bit about Andrew's deck, so it's not too bad that this is taking a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty much a newbie in this format. And I do like the deck here, but I see, for example, I see Old Man of the Sea. I love that card, but is that a viable card in Singleton?
Definitely a viable card. It's not one of my personal favorites, but then again, there are so many aggressive decks that rely on the large amount of the 2-mana creatures that has two toughness or 2 in strength, for example, and that makes the actual targets that you get for Old Man of the Sea are a lot more than what you normally see in constructed play.
Okay, because he can steal the Brothers of Fire, and he was actually telling us that he regretted not putting a plateau in, because then with the plateau and the Felver Stone, he can steal the Brothers of Fire, and he can actually use it.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
It's actually an interesting strategy, I think. I think the one card I would question putting in would be a plateau, since there's actually some. Now we know that Cyril does not play
Mountain Walk, you mean?
Mountain walking creatures, but Mountain Jetty, the same I said before.
Yes.
Creatures a lot more viable in this format, and also Goblins of the Floor.
But you see Mountain Yeti in regular old school as well, just because it's got protection from white.
Yeah.
That makes it really good. I mean, you can't swords it, and there's so many swords in old school.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like they're starting, and let's see who's on the play.
Seems like it's Andrew.
Yeah.
I don't expect anything dramatic to happen in like the first 2 or 3 turns. I think the card that Cyril really needs to be careful about is Mana Drain. If you get an early Mana Drain into Hamamuti or something,
that would be painful.
Very, very hard for Cyril to compete with that kind of tempo boost.
So luckily for him, at least, that's Andrew's playing a plane, so that's good news at least.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting cards that Andrew's playing that is really good in this format is Greater Realm of Preservation, which is essentially a sideboard card, but since you're not allowed to play with sideboard in this format, you have to really consider what kind of hate cards you want to put in. And that card is pretty solid, and if Andrew puts that into play, it will be a lot harder for Cyril to burn him out.
Yeah, and he played a copper tablet and decided to stop the game. So we're just waiting for him to reconnect.
Let's see what's happening now. Okay, Andrew trying to reconnect.
Yeah, Andrew's reconnecting. Andrew's connection is fine.
Yeah, but I have that it's Cyril that's trying to reconnect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's played a copper tablet. That's interesting.
Yeah.
He's really on. He wants the game to be finished quite quickly, right? So he just wants to play aggro.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, if you look at his deck, he has very few threats in the 1 and 2 mana slots. So he plays more of a big red kind of deck, and I think it's not as much as being aggressive. It's just getting the life total to a point where you can apply pressure faster to your opponent than your opponent can pressure you. I think I like Cyril's deck, but I think some of the choices are pretty interesting. I think Copper Tablet is one of the interesting choices, because if you play that, for example, against a green-red aggro deck that relies on smaller, faster creatures,
then you're actually helping that deck.
You put yourself at a disadvantage. Yeah. So it's an interesting card in this kind of list, I think.
Yeah, I've actually put the deck now on the stream. And Detonate is interesting, and I also saw Steel Artifact in Andrew's deck. So do they? Is that very common? Like, you don't see Steel Artifact a lot in regular Swedish, and
yeah, Steel Artifact I think is one of the must include cards if you play blue, together with Control Magic. Essentially, since there are quite a few really good artifact creatures, but artifacts in general. And also, if you look at both of the decks, since it's Singleton, you don't have access to a huge amount of artifact hate. So you need something to deal with stuff like Icy Manipulator and Chaos Orb, for example, or a Juggernaut that is an absolute beast in this format. And Steel Artifact is essentially one of the few cards you have access to when you play blue. Now, Andrew is, of course, combining this with white, which gives access to the most powerful artifact hate in the Divine Offering, Disenchant and Ashes. The Dust to Dust.
Yeah, Dust to Dust. Yeah, and but Dust to Dust can also be a risk, right? You do need 2 targets.
Yeah, you need 2 targets, but I think in general, the decks that have been doing really well in this format usually include at least 8+ artifacts. So it's quite often, especially in a control deck like this, I think it's a solid choice. If he was playing more of an aggro deck, I'm not sure it would be that great, because you would have so much pressure that you might want to destroy an artifact a turn or 2 earlier and not wait for a second drop. But in this kind of control-ish deck, I think it's solid.
And it's maybe nice to explain, because there's this 7-point singleton, right? So cards have a point system, certain cards, because they're so strong, right? I assume. Yeah. And then you can see on the deck picture, some of them have dice on them or counters, kind of indicating how many points it is. Like I see the Mox Ruby, it's got 3 counters, so it's like 3 points.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most interesting parts of this format. It's what really challenges you when you try and build a deck.
So disconnection. So
hey, you're back.
That was quick for. That's what I was
Andrew, I think. No, they're both back.
Yeah, great. So we're going to mute them. Yeah, I think he was telling us before, right, in the chat that maybe he would have some issues.
Yeah. So let's see. We have a copper tablet on the board, and it should be Andrew's turn, I think.
I think so too, but I guess they're first talking about a few things. I think what I like as well, now I was looking at Andrew's list again, and I see a mirror universe.
Yep.
That is interesting. And I wanted to ask you, would a transmute artifact be working in that deck of Andrew?
Transmute artifact.
You had 2 blue antiquities, and then you second artifact, you got the tutor effect.
It's one of my favorite. I don't think in this particular deck I would play it. Of course, it works, but if you look at the artifacts that Andrew's playing, more or less all of them, except Felvar Stone, are cards you want to stay on the board. You want them for their own capability, so to speak. So I'm not sure to see.
They're too precious.
When do you want to sacrifice a Jade Mayto to a?
Nevinyrral's Disc maybe if you have to, if you're forced. Yeah, but I see your point, because I was looking at it the other way, where I thought, he's got so many silver bullets, right? Artifacts that could have a huge impact, and maybe with a transmute artifact. But you're right, he barely has any targets. I assume Soul Ring is also in the point system, right?
Yeah, it's a 4-point.
Yeah.
It's I think the 2 most powerful cards in the format is Ancestral Recall and Soul Ring.
Okay.
With Library of Alexandria as a third. And there are 4 cards that are 4-pointed, and it's Ancestral Recall, it's Soul Ring, it's Library of Alexandria, and it's Black Lotus.
We're seeing a cast here for 2, so what's going to happen for 2 red? Are we going to see Chaos Orb? Yeah. Okay.
That's an interesting choice. He'll probably go for the Jalum Tome.
Right? He's going to flip on it.
No, he's going for the... Is he going for the Plains?
That's not really...
That's an interesting choice. Good flip, though.
It is a hit. Yeah, it's the Plains. Okay.
That's interesting.
Both players have seen each other's lists, so they know. So maybe he has a reason.
That's an interesting... That means he wants to build tempo. So I would expect him to have a pretty solid 4-drop coming out next turn. Rock or Dragon Whelp.
Maybe trying to protect that from a Swords or something, or just set him a land behind that he can.
Yeah, I think he just wants to build tempo.
Yeah. Maybe.
Still, I'm surprised he didn't go for the Jalum Tome. Jalum Tome is surprisingly good.
Yeah, especially in Singleton. Yeah, I can see that. And there's a Black Vice, no land drop.
Well, that's going to be tough for him because Andrew is only on 5 cards, so that would be 2 damage. Next upkeep, 1 from the Vice,
Oh, yeah,
1
of course.
from the Copper Tablet. And if he has a play here, for example, Divine Offering or Disenchant on the Copper Tablet.
Yeah, or maybe an activation.
No,
from
seems.
the book.
Oh, and he didn't even activate that.
Wow, that surprises me.
That seems.
No, maybe his hand is just too good. There's nothing he wants to throw in the bin. I really expected that. Or a disenchant, like you said. So 2nd Plains. 4 mana is pretty key, I think.
Yeah. For both players, I would say. And missing a land drop for red deck.
Yeah.
I think very, very dangerous. Of course, he has the Copper Tablet, so he still has pressure. But let's see what he does this turn. I would still expect pretty solid 4-drop as soon as he hits that 4th land.
I mean, lands are just, we know it, but they're just so important.
Yeah.
He's just so behind just because he missed 1 land drop. He did, well, so behind.
Oh, Brothers of Fire.
Okay, that's good.
So it's style point immediately. I would not expect it to live that long, though. It's possible that it's going to get countered here even. That would take Andrew outside of Vice damage.
3 mana.
It's going to...
Blast.
Blast it.
Wow, so he takes 2, but he gets rid of the Brothers of Fire. So.
Yeah, that's still 1 attack from the Brothers of Fire, so it still does something. I think
and he got rid of
Andrew
one of the
really
only...
needs to...
Yeah, sorry?
That Copper Tablet is going to start to hurt him seriously if he doesn't find answers for it. On the other hand, if he can drop a solid threat this turn, then he can raise the Copper Tablet. Icy Manipulator. Oh, that's a solid card.
Yeah, it's good. It's good because then, but it takes a whole turn. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a land drop as well, because then he could have tapped down one of Cyril's lands. That would have been very powerful. And I agree. He's on 13, playing against direct damage. Yeah. And now he cannot counter as well. Like, is he playing Bull Lightning? I think he is, right? If he has a Bull Lightning now, wow.
Oh yeah, that would be devastating. That would be one of the most devastating cards.
Oh yeah, you talked about this card.
Yeah,
Rock of Courageous, and now he's basically kind of forced to use his icy probably on the rock.
Yeah, he's going to have to use it defensively unless he has an answer in. Maybe I don't. Since we can't hear them, I think he asked for how many cards do you have in your hand. That would suggest a balance.
Balance, yeah. But his hand, I think he has got 5, right, Andrew?
Yeah. So it's not a card advantage, but you get rid of the rock and you can keep your opponent on 3. So I still think.
Ooh, copy artifact.
Copy artifact on the icy. That's brutal.
That is interesting also for Cyril to keep in the back of his head. For example, when he played the Chaos Orb and he thinks, okay, my opponent has a copy. Maybe I'm now giving him a Chaos Orb. Of course, you can activate it when it comes into play.
Oh, let's see. They want to stay at upkeep, I think, because...
Oh, maybe he wants to tap something down.
No, he does not want to tap in upkeep. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think I would have tapped down... maybe because of the Bull Lightning.
Yeah.
Right? That he thinks, I'm going to now tap down the rock, and if he plays a Bull...
Yeah. Oh, and there's the Dragon Wealth. Both of the 4-drops.
Pooh. It's going to get tough here for Andrew. The big problem, of course, is that Copper Tablet keeps ticking.
Yeah. I think Andrew has a pretty solid defense against the creatures. Those both ices are going to lock them down pretty pretty solid. Thing is, at some point he has to deal with Copper Tablet.
A dust to dust would be really nice for him right now.
Yeah, if he has a land drop, because he still wants to tap. Both.
Yeah, true.
I mean, if the rock gets through one time, that's 3 activations or 3 triggers from the Copper Tablet.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. Nice to see Desert.
Desert is a very solid card in this format as well.
Always the problem with Desert is you first have to take the damage, and then you can deal 1 damage. But still, what I do like about it is that you can use it as a colorless, and it does do something. I've seen red players playing with it, for example, to use it to kill a Sarah Angel with a lightning bolt.
Yeah, and also cool. You can have Candelabra of Tavnos, and when you play, especially if you play a deck with, seems like we have a connection problem.
Yeah, he told us about this, right? He's got this weird.
But if you play a deck with, for example, Library of Alexandra, Workshop, and then a Factory, then a Desert, then a Maze of Ith, you can do some really funky stuff with the utility lands, which is a strategy I think is still a bit unexplored in this format. But
interesting. So you basically make more a land-focused deck in Singleton.
Yeah, you can definitely build that.
Wow.
I still think that in general, aggressive tempo decks are probably the strongest archetype at the moment. That's what I'm personally rooting for Andrew in this tournament, since it's a bit more of a control deck.
Yeah.
Which I think would be good for the format, so that we don't only get like either super aggro weenie decks or big red burn decks.
Yeah, because it is a 60 card format.
Yeah. Or at least at the moment. There will be a change in the future, I think, where more cards will be allowed. Right now it's exactly 60 cards. I'm not sure that change would change much, but I think there might be some interesting builds that could benefit from playing more cards in the deck. If there's one thing that the old school format has shown, is that even though the game is so old and the card pool is so limited, the amount of ingenuity and creativity when it comes to deck building is staggering.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, right? Keep seeing new decks, and we're 25 years in.
Yeah. And we're seeing it in Constructed as well, which I think is really, really nice. I heard there was an unpowered deck that won the Udon Troll Cup.
Yeah, that was it was very unexpected. Even had what's the card called again? Raging River? Is that the name?
Yeah.
Enchantment.
The enchantment where you split the board.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see those cards. Yeah, he won, and it was a red, more brown deck, I have to say, like the Atox, the artifacts, and just very consistent. But you would think that those cards would really benefit from Moxen, right? And he didn't play them because he played underpowered, and he still won. So yeah, that was really interesting to see and unexpected. And we had the same at the Raging Bull series, where a deck won. A green-red deck, actually, with kind of like that idea of just put 3 Pendelhavens in and a lot of 1/1s.
Yeah.
And go for it. So, it's interesting, because before that, usually control decks, like mid-range control, aggro control, tend to, win the constructed scene more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's cool, especially underpowered, because if you're more like on the budget, you can just build that. Okay, so here we've got Cyril back.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
And we're just going to mute again.
Remute both of them. Okay, there we go.
And okay, because the game is about to get exciting, actually.
Yeah.
Let's hope that we can keep Cyril with us. I do think that Cyril now is the favorite, right, in this first game.
Yeah, at least he has, as long as the Copper Tablet stays on the board. If Andrew draws his Divine Offering, then I think it could quickly swing in his favor. One of the cards that Andrew is not playing that I'm a bit surprised to see that he's not playing is Ivory Tower. And I think that's the biggest danger for Andrew is that he has very little life gain in his deck. He spoke earlier about not having Diamond Valley in the deck.
Yeah.
And I think that that is a real concern.
Diamond Valley is so good. That card is so good.
Since against a red deck, if the game goes on, suddenly you get a Fireball for 7 that gets forked to your face. And even if you think you're at a safe life total, you're not. So that is my main concern for Andrew, is that his life gain abilities is a bit low against this kind of deck. On the other hand, like I said, if he gets to use either Mana Drain at a good point or Greater Realm of Preservation, I think he would be in a better position. Right now, it doesn't matter. Right now, he really needs an answer for that.
Right, he has to start using his little book to kind of like dig for answers, right?
Yeah, that surprised me, and that's tells me that he has
something, right?
Something in hand that he really wants to keep.
Oh, look at this! Man,
he needs a counter for this.
Oh, this is a problem. He has to this detonate. Oh, but I think there's something.
I think a power sink for 1. No, a counterspell.
Counterspell. Okay, this is good for the game.
Otherwise, I think.
Oh, man. And I think he played the Detonating on the copy artifact, right? Because he doesn't have enough mana to play it on the...
No, he had 5. I think he drew. No, maybe he played it on the Jalum Toe.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not sure. It looks like he only has 4 mana. Then he should have...
Maybe he thought if I do it on the Tome, I can deal 1 more extra damage, and I can take that selection out of his hand, because he's, of course, going to dig for answers, wanting to get rid of the Copper Tablet. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's 3 damage. And right now, I mean, Andrew is at 10. It's really going to hurt if he doesn't find an answer soon.
Oh, man. When you're below 10 against a red deck. So discarding the island still for the Tome.
He activated main in his main phase. That's interesting.
Yeah, because he had to counter, of course.
Yeah.
What's he gonna do?
So
tap them down.
That's 2, of course. But he's still keeping 2 mana up. He's threatening.
Ooh, this is another problem.
That really is a challenge if to face.
Even 7. More problems. He's gonna drop down to 7, right? Oh, he's still got 2 blue open. Maybe he's gonna counter. So Chain Lightning, and we've got Orcish Artillery.
Drop to say he needs his Wrath of God or balance right now.
Oh man.
That orc is going to kill him if it's allowed to stay at this point.
Because the orc, again, a card you don't see often, he can tap it to deal 2 damage to any target, right? And then he deals 3 damage to the controller.
Card.
Ooh, this could get him back. But is he playing this end of turn? Is his hand that empty because of the Vice? Because then he can take he takes the damage for the Vice as well now, it seems. I think I saw 5 in hand, I'm not sure. Yeah, so he's now going to count. So
5, that's 2 damage. Down to 5.
Yeah, because one of the Vice, one of the Copper. Now he's going to untap. Oh, he's got to deal with the Oriflame. Oh, man.
He needs a balance.
Balance, right?
And 5, and Cyril still has 3 cards in hand.
I think a balance would be really good.
Yeah.
Right? Also, because then he goes down, and that's good because of the Vice.
Well, it's just 4 cards, so the Vice is not a problem this turn. But he really
Ashes or Dust to Dust, I mean, maybe now. No, tapping another one.
It's 4 mana. I would expect it to be Wrath of God.
Changing his mind.
Because he needs to deal with that. That orc will kill him in 2 turns.
I mean, he's on 5.
2, 3. He's counting his mana. That would suggest a Brain Gazer, maybe.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a good idea, I think. Well, if you have no other choice. It's Wrath of God, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yep, that was a must-play.
That saved his ass.
A very, very bad spot, though. He needs... Of course, the Chain Lightning is out, but there's so much burn in Cyril's deck that...
It's interesting because you can actually look at Cyril's life total and then you can see how much work the Copper Tablet has done.
Yeah.
And now he's going to tap down his lands. Maybe I would go... Yeah, he's still thinking... Maybe I would just tap down both of his lands with the Ices.
But I think he wants an activation on the Tome.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And he wants to keep his counter capability up, probably. Yeah.
Still wants to at least threaten that he has the mana drain. But the counterspell, since it's been... I mean, this is one of the big things with Singleton. You really need to keep count on what cards that the opponent has played.
Mm-hmm.
Since it gives so much information about what you can do and what cards you have to play around and what cards you don't have to play around. But still, Copper Tablet is a huge issue.
There are quite a lot of counter spells that you could make a pretty decent counter deck, I guess, in Singleton.
Yeah, sort of. I think that red-blue counterburn-ish deck would work, but there's not that many solid counters, I think. You have Mana Drain, which is pointed.
Oh, this is not good.
Still, he is...
At least he's got a lot of lands already.
7 mana, so he doesn't have to play land. He can drop the lands with Tome.
It could be worse than Ankh. It could just have been straight direct damage, because he's on 5.
It's going to drop to 4 now.
Oh yeah, because he's doing this on end step, and now he's going to take damage from the Copper Tablet. So the Copper Tablet alone has already dealt 8 damage.
Yeah, Fireball for 3 next turn would be lethal. So he really needs that Divine Offering to at least buy a turn, so he can drop... Oh man, he needs to drop Mirror Universe and still manage to survive. Oh, this is going to be tough. I think Cyril's got this one.
Let's see. Divine Offering? No. Oh, no, Chaos Orb.
It's an answer. And he should activate it now because Cyril doesn't have Shatter Mana up.
Is he going to do it? Or is he going to be greedy and say, first take damage from the copper, and then before your draw set, but then you're taking a risk?
What is he going to do?
Disrupting Scepter, not really relevant.
Nope, that's not going to help him.
I think, in all honesty, I wouldn't have played it.
Chaos Orb until Cyril has taken damage. I'm not sure if that is the correct play.
I would have not played the Scepter, because you can also just take the Scepter out of here. But then again, he knows his deck, and he hasn't lost a single match, right? So.
No, it's been super dominant. It's the dominant run we've seen. That must be an upkeep activation, I think.
Yeah, maybe he's thinking since he's on 4.
Activate
yeah, he's going to tap a land. Yeah. Interesting.
I'm surprised he's not going for another land. Oh,
he wants to use the orb, huh?
Or lightning. That's the card he must be playing around.
I think in this case it's even Ball Lightning or like Fireball Disintegrate, since he's on 4, so he could Fireball him now with the mana only for 2 and not for 3 anymore.
He still has an Icy Manipulator up, so he could tap another land. But then if Cyril drops land, Ball Lightning, he's dead.
Yeah, and also I think he wants to, in an ideal situation, he doesn't want to use his second Icy, but use his Orb at end step, right, on the tablet. Ooh!
Yeah, this is really nasty.
He's gonna go to 2.
No, he has to flip. This flip really needs to hit.
Okay. But he's been with his back against the wall, this whole game. Oh!
no!
Oh man, this is devastating. This
We've
is
all been
devastating. Yeah, I've missed my fair share of flips. Oh man.
That's down to 1. Now
I think this is the decider.
this has to be it.
Yes.
Andrew has very little chance of actually winning this. Yeah, he's drawing 4. He needs to remove the copper tablet or he's dead. He's probably dead anyway, but...
Let's see. Oh, he's casting something else. Oh yeah, just activating.
Yeah, he's just gonna cast what's not burn.
Ball lightning. So he did have the ball lightning.
That's a statement. Discard. If that's the worst card in his hand,
wow.
At this point, it's gonna get rough.
But it also shows that Andrew made the right call to just always keep that icy option open.
Yeah.
Respecting that ball lightning.
Yeah. Yeah, if he didn't, he would be dead.
And we can't see his life anymore. But Andrew's on 1, and I think Cyril's on 11 or something.
I think it's at 9 or 10.
Oh, 9, okay.
That's a sushi. That's well, that doesn't do anything with the ices. It's whether or not the copper tablet kills him now.
Yeah, I assume he's gone, right? This is it.
Yeah, that's it. That's the first loss for Andrew. And this is the power of mono red. This is why it's such a lethal archetype. And what we've seen so far in the format is mostly this big red kind of decks. So far, one of the decks that I would like to see explored a bit more is like the lower mana curve red deck, where you play the goblins, where you can use Goblin Grenade and Fork and really do massive amounts of damage from essentially nothing.
Yeah, because you can play with Fallen Empires in this format.
Yeah.
But personally, I like more. I really like kind of the mid-range decks where you're just doing a lot of stuff, but you're not really having an impact on the board. If you know what I mean. Like I like cards like Brothers of Fire, Archaeologist, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I think
Old Man of the Sea, just like also Sorcerer's Queen.
Yeah. I think the difficult part of building a strong Singleton mid-range deck is you really need to balance your spot removal and your sweepers if you want to play a mid-range kind of deck that's on the control side. Then again, if you get, for example, a Royal Assassin or a Preacher to stay on the board, they essentially win you the game. So, and if they don't, they are worthless.
Yeah,
so
they stick.
It's high reward cards that you usually don't get a reward out of.
Yeah, one earthquake and it's gone.
Or essentially any spot removal. But then again, since you're only limited to one card, you really see some interesting choices. I mean, Island of Wak-Wak, for example, is a solid card in this format. Since you're only allowed to play one Mace of It, and the Mace of It is also pointed. And other card, one of the cards that I've been experimenting with lately, with I had to admit so far not great success, is Nettling Imp.
Yeah.
The discount Royal Assassin. And you play a blue-black deck with Icy Manipulator, Flood, and different cards. I also think it would work in a white-black deck where you play with Moat and stuff like that, and just keep on killing cards because they can't attack.
Yeah. And do you play Siren's Call then as well?
Yeah, I had it. It's so far I'm not been super impressed. Thomas says it's wrong score in the live video. Mono red is 1.
Oh yeah, he's right. Yeah, let me change it. Let's go. I'll change it. Bam. There we go. My bad. Now it's fixed. And so at least Andrew gets to start.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's not playing with reverse damage, but I guess problem with that card, it's 2 white.
Yeah.
And 1. That's always if it would just be 1 white and 2 or something.
It would be a lot more playable. There are so many fun defensive decks that people are experimenting with right now, where you have where you play green-white, you play with Arborea, you play with Fogs, you play with Moat, you play with reverse damage, and just try and sit back and you stall the game out. Not either kill with Millstone or Karma, Cyclopean Tomb. So far, they have not.
And do you think a wall deck could work?
See.
Do you think a deck with walls could work?
Yeah, definitely.
Because you've got a lot of walls. So I'm thinking, because I'm now trying to think in Singleton mode. You need not just a playset, you need to have a lot of kind of the same cards with different name tags on them.
I mean, one of the really, really good defensive cards, I think, is Wall of Air.
Mm-hmm.
Because you stop Serangel, you stop Singer Vampire, you stop essentially all the good flyers except Shivan Dragon and Hamilton Jin.
Yeah.
And also a frequently played card is Dancing Scimitar.
Yeah, that's.
I'm a very solid defensive card.
I'm surprised and not surprised that it doesn't see a lot of play in Constructed. Because it is a 4-drop 1/5 flyer, and as you say, you can put it in any deck. It's artifacts and it blocks all those, usual suspects. And you can even deal damage with it if you have to.
Yeah. I lost to Dancing Scimitar together with the Mana Screw, I admit, but I lost to it anyway in the quarterfinal of this tournament. So it's a solid beater. I think flyers are really, really strong in this format. You either, I think, need to build strong flying deck or a really fast ground deck. Those are the most, I think, competitive strategies right now, together with, of course, Mono Red Burn.
And he's not. It's interesting that Cyril is not playing with Earthbind.
Yeah, that's a. But I think problem with Earthbind is that the amount of creatures that you actually kill with it are few. Of course, kill Hypnotic Spectre. Then again, black decks have not been super impressive so far, I think. Other than that, you don't have that many cards. You have Thunder Spirit that haven't seen that much, and
I think maybe I'm thinking more as well as using it in combination with. For example, when you use Earthbind with, again, the Brothers of Fire, or with the Bolt, or with the Timmy.
Yeah, but then again, then you might as well play Immolation, which also target ground creatures, if you want to kill them for 2.
Yeah, you've got a good point there. And you can even use Immolation offensively as well. For example, on your Rock of Courageous, make it a 5/1.
Yeah.
If you see the opening. Immolation is pretty sweet too.
One of the cards I haven't seen red decks play that it would be interesting to see how it works would actually be something as stupid as Fire Breathing.
Oh wow, that's really old school.
Yeah, because quite often these games.
But then you have to add Dwarf Warriors.
Or you only have like one creature that's on the board, and having pump ability is something that we've seen earlier, been quite successful. That's why Dragon Whelp is so dangerous. You can always find use for the mana that you have on the board with it, and I think Fire Breathing could be one of those sleeper cards in an aggressive deck that you don't really expect.
So there's enough left to explore, right? In the format.
Yeah, and this is what I love so much about this format, is that it is so unexplored. You still think about these really funky cards that you wouldn't even register playing with if you play constructed. But here they are legitimate choices, and that I think really captures the essence of what old school should be about. You play with the cards that you played at the kitchen table as a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
That I think is amazing.
You want to give those cards a place.
Yeah, and they certainly have a place in this format, which is, like I said, this is why it's my preferred format at the moment.
I recently played EDH, which I'm kind of experimenting with a point system, without a point system, and I discovered that Barrel's Cage is a good card in that format.
Yeah, it's solid. Yeah. You remember that old computer game Chandalar?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's still one of my most played games to this day, together with Civilization. And it's actually surprisingly good to try out new stuff in that game if you have the right mods. Let's see, we're coming into turn 3 now. So now this should start happening.
Oh, he's going to play something.
Jalum Tome, perhaps, again? No, a Disrupting Scepter.
Oh, he should keep his life score in the screen. Maybe we can send him a text to ask.
Yeah, I will.
I think it is good for Andrew at least. Oh, 3-tapped Stone Rain. Stone Rain, okay. I thought Ball Lightning again. Stone Rain, pretty good here.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say, I think it's an advantage of Andrew that at least Cyril didn't have a quick start.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you like to see as a control player.
Activations, that is good.
So forcing Cyril to discard a card. And there we go. You got the message.
Let's see what he wants to discard. It's a mountain, it seems. Yeah.
But it's a good sign for Andrew that it took so long for Cyril to make the decision.
Yeah.
Right? You're always happy when you're using that.
Of course. 3 mana. What comes now? There's the Brothers of Fire.
Brothers of Fire.
Yeah, that's... Even if it's a creature on the board, it's still a lot less threatening than the Copper Tablet was.
Definitely. That was such a big problem for Andrew. And look at this. Now he's still in 20. And I think the previous game he was already down to, I don't know, 16 or something.
Yeah. If he has like a Swords to Plowshares or... Nope, it's not, but it's going to activate again.
Yeah, maybe he's deciding to. He's preferring this.
That's 2 cards. It's doing work.
For the people that don't know, Brothers of Fire is a 2/2 creature, 2 red and 1, right? And then for 2 red and 1, it deals 1 damage to any target, and you take 1 damage.
Dropping Fork. That is...
Ooh!
Now we're getting to the good cards.
If you're Andrew, you're like really happy right now. Like,
yeah. If it drops Fork, I would expect his hand to be... I would expect a solid 4 or 5 drop creature at this point.
So we know he has Detonate to take care of the Scepter. He's got Shatter, right?
Yeah, I think that and Chaos Orb, I think, is his only artifact. Disruption, yeah.
So his best approach is probably to just try to empty his hand as quick as possible.
Yeah, I think so too. But then again, you risk running into Balance or Balance or Wrath of God.
And this is interesting because he's playing a basic land, so he's saying, because he could have kept it in hand.
Here comes the Shivan Red. Nope, it's a Tetravus.
Ah, Tetravus. So 4/4 flyer. It's actually a 1/1 flyer, but it comes into play with 3+1/+1 counters from the Antiquities. And then in your upkeep, right? I believe you can take those counters off to make them into 1/1 flyers.
This is the point if he has Dust to Dust. I would consider nuking your own
Scepter.
Your own Scepter in order to get rid of the Tetravus, because he really needs an answer here. I don't think he can afford taking 6 damage next turn.
Wow, nice play, second to land.
or he could also play a creature in order to...
Is that an Island of Wak-Wak there? It's hard for me to see.
No, I think it's a Talar. No, I'm not sure.
Oh, Talaria could be?
I guess we'll find out. If it's an Island of Wak-Wak, it's a great card. That's a good discard.
Ooh. If it's an Island of Wak-Wak, then he's in a great spot. If not, then he's going to take 6 damage. So we'll see. This is interesting. He's choosing not to take the counters off. Because you can also say, I'm just at least going to take 2 off you. Because it's kind of vulnerable now.
It seems like it was a Talaria.
Yeah. Okay, so it's going to take 6 here.
That is huge.
Would you've taken counters off?
If it was an Island of Wak-Wak, yes. If it wasn't, no. Especially because he has no access to white mana, which means that he cannot, other than Boomerang, which you don't really. You would care about it because you wouldn't be able to cast Tetris again. But other than that, you really don't have. He really doesn't have an answer, and at this point, I think you only need to get. Of course, he discarded the Disintegrate, which is a big thing, but you only need to get 1 or 2 swings in with the Tetravus in order for it to be really, really useful. The dangerous card right now for Cyril is I think if Andrew has Divine Offering, because that's 6 life.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
Tetravus.
He's asking how many cards he has. 2 cards in hand. I hope that he has a Divine Offering.
It's either that or Balance. Next turn, if he goes Balance and then activate the Scepter.
Tapping 3. What's he gonna do?
Choosing which card to keep if he gets another activation. Oof.
More bad news for Andrew.
Andrew need one of his sweepers. He really need one of his sweepers, and he has. But if he has Balance now, he could Balance, keep 1 card, then play a land, Balance, keep 1 card in hand, and then activate Scepter afterwards to completely clear the board, keep both players at 4 cards, but he would have a card advantage.
I think his card advantage engine is working really well. You saw that in game 1. The problem is he's just taking damage. Okay, what are we going to see?
Maybe a Mahamouti Jinn, perhaps?
That would be sweet. Oh, Mirror Universe.
Oh, that is brutal.
That is so interesting.
Does Cyril have the kill this turn or not?
Wow.
6, 8. He has 9 damage on the board. He needs a lightning bolt to win.
Oh, man.
If he has a lightning bolt, he activates the Brothers of Fire. He attacks with the brothers and the Tetravus. He activates the artillery for 2, lightning bolts for 3. That would be 12 damage. And he's counting the damage.
Oh, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. If he has it, he has it. I mean, Andrew's tapped out, so he might as well just do it.
If he doesn't have it, he should just stay back. Don't do anything.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But even if, here's the thing, even if he doesn't have an answer and he just stays back and Andrew gets an activation with the Mirror Universe, that only saves him like 1 or 2 turns.
Yeah.
So.
But then he's probably going to wait with the activation.
The problem with waiting with the activation is that if he does not activate it, Cyril gets an activation with Brothers of Fire, gets him down to 11, which means that a Fireball for 2 would be enough. That's an interesting choice.
Does that mean he has something to deal? I think. Is he going to get rid?
He took a. Did he take a Mana Bird?
I think so. This is
weird. Well, I that play I don't understand. That play I don't understand. That we have to ask him about that one after the game.
Yeah, definitely. But here he's going to do something else. I take more mana burn, I assume?
No, he can't take mana burn because
no.
that's the end of phase. He's going to activate Brothers of Fire and he's going to shoot. So he's going to shoot himself.
He's going to shoot himself. That is...
Yeah.
So it's actually only a 4-life bonus.
Yeah.
That he's getting. So it's a pretty shitty mirror universe.
It has a lightning bolt. It's over. Or a proper burn spell. Andrew is in desperate need of a sweeper right now.
Yeah, the problem is that Andrew is constantly under pressure. He has to come up with solutions. Yep. And he's not putting any problems on the board for Cyril.
Yeah.
I mean, the Scepter did great work in this game too, and he got card advantage, but he had card advantage in game 1 as well, and it just wasn't enough.
This I think is the issues with control decks. You can have all the good cards in the deck, but if you don't draw them and you're under pressure.
Yeah.
Let's see there, Andrew.
Yeah, and of course with Singleton you have less consistency because he's constantly looking for sweepers. But the sweepers, you only have one Wrath of God, you only have one balance. What are some of the other sweepers? Mirror Universe, I guess. Nephil's Disc.
The only you have I think 5 sweepers, 2 of which are not super good. You have Hellfire, which is the worst. Then you have Earthquake and Hurricane. Count them as one. But they are situational and you damage yourself. Other than that, you have Nevinyrral's Disc, Balance, Wrath of God.
Yeah. And in Andrew's deck, he's playing with Balance, Wrath of God, Nevinyrral's Disc. Now, Mirror Universe, not a sweeper, but it can kind of give you some breathing space.
It gives you a turn or two.
And of course he's got the Circle of Protection that you mentioned.
Yeah.
What's it called again from Legends?
Greater Realm of Preservation.
Yeah, Greater Realm. Yeah. In a way, it's funny because you said that there are hardly any black decks really doing well in Singleton. Because I'm thinking Demonic Tutor must be fantastic.
Yeah, the thing with Demonic Tutor is, of course, it's 3 points. You kind of limit what other cards you want to play.
So you cannot play Ancestral Recall and Demonic Tutor. That would be too many points.
No, you can play Ancestral Recall and Demonic Tutor, but then you can't play other pointed cards. So no Balance, no Mace of Ith, no Brain Geyser, no Soul Ring, no.
I like that you've got to pay the price if you want to make that decision.
And that's what I think. Deck building is so interesting. I think the most of the successful strategies I've seen so far is to have one really high pointed card, usually one of the 4 pointed cards, and then either a 2 point and a 1 point card or 3 1 point cards. Of course, you can. Of course, we see a lot of other strategies where you with 7 1 point cards or 5 1 points and 1 2 point card. But I think right now the dominant strategy is to have one heavily pointed card that's super good and then fill it up with decent 1 or 2 point cards.
Yeah, so you see in the deck of Cyril, that's the highest pointed card is his Mox Ruby. So he's really going for that tempo then, I guess.
Yeah, and the thing with Mono Red is that I'm a little bit when I look at Cyril's deck, I'm a bit surprised he went for the Ruby. The Ruby is good, but in this case there could be a debate: should I skip Mana Vault and skip Ruby and just play with Soul Ring instead? That's probably what I would have gone. Of course, his deck will not be available from next month's tournament since Fireball is 1 point. Would start from next tournament just to try and limit the burn strategies a little bit.
I think that's a good idea if you see that one archetype is too dominant. What can we do in a healthy way to kind of give other types a chance as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's been a bit of discussion about whether Fireball was the right choice. I trust the organizers in this, that it's probably a good change. I might want to look at other cards, maybe Lightning Bolt. Depends a little bit on what kind of deck you want to. Let's see.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was also thinking about maybe Earthquake.
I don't think Earthquake needs a point. It's not been that consistent. I think.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, just to clarify, I'm a complete rookie when it comes to Singleton, and
I think
you're the
the hard
specialist here.
part with balancing red burn is that even if you point a lot of the cards, the main strategy would still be the same.
Yeah.
The archetype is so solid. If you point some of the big burn spells, for example, if you also point Disintegrate, I think we would see a switch towards even more aggressive red decks going down the Goblin route, perhaps. I still think that could be a lot more solid than people think at this point, but that's just my theory. Then again, it's also.
Oh, and I guess, sorry to interrupt because I think we're picking it up again. It's Andrew's turn still.
Okay, we're back.
Right, and he's tapping. Oh, he's just going to use his scepter. Every time he's tapping his mana, I think he's going to play something. I'm a little disappointed when it's a scepter because he really needs that Divine Offering or something.
Yeah, that's Juggernaut. That doesn't really change anything. Are we going to see the balance? Or are we going to see a Wrath of God? Or are we going to see a Dust? Yeah.
Oh, wow, nice. Dusty
and
Dust.
They
this
are
was
exiled,
needed.
So, yeah, and they seem to have figured it out themselves. Exile, now I use the modern term. Removed from the game.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to say it.
Okay, but I'm happy just as a neutral commentator in this, because I'm hoping to see a third game. He's still under pressure, though.
Best of 5, so we're definitely going to see a third game. The question is, are we going to see more than 3 games? And I really hope we do. Choosing to attack with
interesting.
That's only 3 damage.
I mean, he is on 8, of course.
Yeah. Let's see here, Mana Vault, that doesn't really do anything. Of course, it gets another activation out of Brothers of Fire if needed. And Burn becomes increasingly dangerous.
Let's see. Island, okay. Is that it?
Needs to have more plays than this if he wants to stay alive.
I think he's got, 3 cards in hand still? Or 2?
Thing is, of course, Cyril is an 8, so if he can drop one of his big flying threats at this point, both Brothers of Fire and the Orc becomes less usable if you can swing for 4 or 5 one turn.
Sarah Angel or Mamoti, Air Elemental.
Water Element, Air Elemental, 4 mana. Is it a blocker? No, it's an icy. Oh, that's...
It's good, I guess. Is he going to tap down the Mana Vault?
It keeps him 1 turn. Yeah, he is. Oh, interesting. Yeah, he's fearing the burn. But that still means he takes
3 damage at least.
1 damage now if he activates Brothers of Fire, which it seems like it does. So that's 8 and 7. And then there is 2, 4, 5 damage on the board. And he's down to 6.
Wow.
Down 3, down to 5.
Yay.
I'm surprised he didn't. Why didn't he untap the Mana Vault? Because he is at 1. There's 1 serious risk that he's facing that could kill him. It's Psionic Blast I'm thinking about.
Ah, of course. Tapping 4. Okay, there we've got Rock of Courageous again.
See if he gets a sweeper now. If he gets a sweeper, he could sweep the board and then retap Mana Vault in the upkeep and keep the damage going.
Yeah, the way he's putting his hand away, it doesn't look like it. Okay, I guess he's going to do something.
I think his count, could it be counting for a Brain Geyser? Or is
4 mana, or a Wrath then. No, he hasn't tapped double planes.
No, it's a... Oh, that's not going to help.
Cool card though, Jade Statue.
Yeah. Then again, he's on 6 life.
It's going to block something at least.
Yeah, it's a solid blocker. And
is he going to take the damage? Probably is.
Yeah, he did. That's interesting because he has 3. Now he's going to tap the rock.
Yeah, so he's saying, I want to go into combat. What do you want to do? Tapping the Rock of Courageous.
And is he going to attack with both?
Interesting, because he knows he can animate it. So animating Jade Statue becomes a 3/6. Does he have something to blast it?
He needs a shatter at this point.
Blast it out of the game, yeah.
He must have a shatter, otherwise this play makes no sense.
Because he doesn't have enough mana for detonate.
Oh, it's lightning bolts him down to 2, and then...
Yeah, then he's dead, I think, right?
Unless he has a counter, that's game.
Because a bolt for going to drop to 2, and then he can use his Orcish Artillery.
Yeah. That should be game.
Yeah, that's it. Ay.
And this is the power of Mono Red Burn.
Man, he went undefeated, right, Andrew? So I'm expecting...
Oh, it's still over, not over, but he needs to win 3 in a row now.
Wow.
That's going to be rough.
Yeah, it's best of 5. Let me add that here to the description. Wow. There we go. Best of 5. And is just to inform me, so when are they going to use their sideboards? Is that after the first?
There is no sideboard.
There is no sideboard. Okay, so I'm very well informed here. Is that always with Singleton?
At least in this format, I don't know.
Oh yeah, of course, 7 point. Yeah.
They use the sideboard.
That's also interesting.
Yeah, and that it's also a challenge when in deck building. For example, if you play white, do you want to play Circle of Protection red main deck because red decks are so strong and risk having a dead card? Or do you want to build around Circle of Protection red if you play with Earthquake, Inferno, Orcish Artillery? That's a strategy. So you really need to think about what hate cards you put in your main deck, because against some matchups, they essentially win you the game. And against others, it's just a dead card.
Yeah, now looking at his list, I think it would be really nice for Andrew if he could find his Spirit Link, because that's at least a way to get some life.
Yeah, but so far we haven't seen any of his big threats.
No, true.
So I think that is the cards I'm looking at that he really needs to get more, either draw or get more out of is creatures, it's Divine Offering, it's Moat, it's Greater Realm, and I still think that if he gets an early mana drain into one of his big threats, Andrew or Cyril would have a very, very hard time dealing with that if you get a turn 3 Serra Angel, for example, or a turn 3 Mahamudi counter. Also, one card that is super strong in this format is Control Magic, since essentially the only cards that can remove it are Disenchant if you play it, if you play white. Otherwise, it's more or less Chaos Orb. Of course, you can play Tranquility, but very few play that. So that's a very strong 2-for-1 removal, so to speak.
Yeah, Cyril. Yeah, if you cast and control magic against Cyril's list here, then he has a huge problem.
Yeah, and same with Steel Artifact. If you get an early Juggernaut down, just to have it stolen, then...
Yeah,
then
or that Tetraphus that we saw earlier.
Which one?
The Tetraphus that we saw earlier.
For example, if it had a Control Magic or a Steel Artifact at that point, then that game might have gone the other way. I'm still very curious about that attack with the Tetraphus, though.
Yeah, with the Mirror Universe situation in game 2. Yeah. That was an interesting choice. I'm sure he was, he must have been counting in his head and thinking, okay, if I put him that low and he gives me that life total back, I don't know.
Yeah, but then again, he only puts himself at a lower life total, so I don't...
Could it be that he wanted to force kind of Andrew? He thought maybe Andrew's going to wait?
But yeah, that's the one possibility. That might be it. But then again, he was already 12 against a red burn deck.
Yeah, true.
Oh, I think I still would have activated it at that point, because otherwise you put yourself open. You get one activation from the Brothers of Fire, and if there's one more burn spell coming out, you're dead.
It's interesting. It's how Orcish Artillery and Brothers of Fire together is kind of like an expensive, complicated lightning bolt, but it is that. It is another 3 damage.
Yeah.
And to any target. Usually you're going to play it on the player, but still that's nice as well.
And as long as you are the one pressure the opponent, that you don't really care about your
Ankh of Mishra here.
Has to be countered.
Is he going to counter? I guess he doesn't have a counter spell.
This is going to be brutal.
He has to deal with this. Again, he has a problem that he has to deal with. I'm going to go to 18 because of the Ankh. For every land that a player plays, they get 2 damage. That's a Tundra, I think.
Sorry, I'm going to pour myself some more whiskey. BRB.
It's a good idea. Yeah, playing the book. Probably going to use that to dig for answers for that Ankh of Mishra.
If he drops a ball lightning now, this would be very problematic for Andrew.
First, going to take the 2, so let's hope. Uh-oh. Don't do it. He stepped out as well. Okay, off control.
Oi.
Still, it's good though. It's a 2/2. It's hard to get rid of.
Very solid card in this format. Blocks everything almost. Regenerate is also one of those abilities that I think is a bit overlooked. One of the good old blockers from the good old days is Will-O-the-Wisp.
Willow, yeah. Everybody used to play Willow.
That's a very solid card in this format.
I used to, but I remember playing against Will-O-the-Wisp with Unholy Strength, and then you had a 2/2 Regenerator Flyer.
Yeah.
That was a pain. He's gonna use his book, trying to find answers.
Yeah, it's so much pressure right now.
What is he putting away? Air Elemental. Such a beautiful card, Air Elemental.
Yeah, very, very good in this format as well. Since you can only play one Serra Angel, compare it to something else.
Taking 2 damage.
4 damage from the act. It's doing serious work.
He's got to get rid of that. Come on, get rid of it.
Greater Realm of Preservation. Oof. But it's still not out of...
The problem is, of course, Greater Realm is, I think, 1 white and 1, right? To prevent damage. So it takes a lot of mana, so he needs a lot of mana, but he doesn't want to play out land because it's going to give him 2 damage for the Ankh. So it's a great card, but in this situation...
Yeah, that Ankh is really, really, really troublesome. And he only has, I think, 1 white mana. So if Cyril keeps applying threats to the board, he might still not be able to get full use out of it.
It must be so nice for Cyril, because everything is really going his way so far.
Yeah. Yes. What comes now? 4. Is it
Rock of Courageous again? Dragon Whelp?
No, sir, my expectation. It could be the Juggernaut or Suchi as well. But he's hesitant to commit. That's interesting.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It's 4 mana. What could he be playing?
Or does he simply want to play a Detonate?
It's a manipulator, but that's the other 4 card. Or if he wants to play Burn when Andrew's tapped out.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe a Detonate on the book. Chaos Orb gonna flip. What is he gonna flip on the Greater Realm or on?
Yeah, I would target the Greater Realm.
At least it's a hit, and we'll see. Yeah, Greater Realm.
Yeah. That is so unfortunate for Andrew.
He could have targeted the Tundra as well.
Yeah, I still think.
Yeah.
I still think it's the right choice, but yeah, you could argue about the Tundra, because that means he needs to play more lands in order to get any activations out of.
Exactly, and he's also locking himself up with that Greater Realm, because he has to then keep the mana open, so it takes 2 mana away from him. But yeah, this is probably like the safer option. At least now it's gone and out of the game, because that card can of course wreck all his direct damage plans.
But I still think Andrew needs to commit at least 2 more lands to the board. So that's another 4 damage.
Wow.
From the Ankh in order to be able to do something in his deck. Right now, I would put Cyril at very high percentage chance of actually winning this round. I would say 80%.
Wow, that's high.
20% Andrew.
That's not good, because he's already 2 games up.
Yeah,
it's a best of 5. So that's not. We don't want that to happen. So hopefully Andrew can pull a miracle.
Yeah.
Well, a miracle. He just needs to draw decent. Let me put it that way, right? If he draws at least a Divine Offering or something to get rid of the Ankh.
He needs to get rid of the Ankh and have an answer for the Troll and have an answer for the Burn. Yeah. This is what I think I said in the beginning. That was a surprise to not see Ivory Tower in Andrew's deck. I found that is one of the few reliable cards to actually gain a decent amount of life to stay alive.
I mean, he's got 4 mana. It's not. Yeah, I wanted to say he can. Yeah, he can use his book for 2. Try to find something to deal with the artifact, and then also play it, because probably you're looking for Disenchant or Divine Offering. So at least you can then play it.
But I still think he needs about 6 or 7 lands in order to really do what his deck wants to do. And the Ankh is really, really hurting him right now.
I'm also thinking maybe
the goal is just going to keep hitting him.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking maybe Wall of Swords would be nice, but
yeah, that's also a solid wall.
Also because it's 1 white and 3. But yeah, he's hardly played any creatures.
He hasn't played any creatures. I think
0, right? Wow.
It seems like he. What's happening right now? Is he giving up?
I think he's showing us his cards just to. Yeah. So he has the modes.
Offering. That means he can get rid of the.
So that is great news.
Tank, but he's still under pressure.
That's good news. And he's got. I think I saw a moat there, and I see he's got a pretty good hand. The problem is what you say.
He only has 1 white mana though.
Yeah.
So the question is, does he wait for Andrew to drop a land and activate
Yeah, what does he do? He's asking.
Yeah,
I don't know, Andrew.
well,
You decide.
We can't hear him, so.
I guess we can put his sound on. We can ask. So Andrew, yeah, but he's still.
My move is already committed. I'm going to divine the Ankh.
Okay.
I'm very confused about this.
Well, he's telling us what he's going to do, right? So you're going to divine the Ankh?
And I'm going to brain geyser for 1.
Oh wait, quickly, get it back. There's. Okay, we're back, I guess. Oh, he's gonna. Oh, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Let me first mute Cyril, or else he hears it. But he's okay. So he wants to divine and then brain geyser for 1.
But he doesn't have the mana for that.
Maybe he has a land in hand. It's going to play after divine, right? So let's first. He divines, gains 2 life, goes to 16.
Are we talking end of?
Is he?
I'm not sure whose turn it is at this point.
I think it is Andrew's turn. I think. So I'm saying I think because I'm not sure. But we'll see it soon enough if he's going to untap. No, so it's his turn. Now he's going to play the desert.
Yeah, and now he's going to brain geyser for 1.
Brain geyser for 1. Interesting to brain geyser for 1. Yeah. At least you're using all your mana efficiently. It would be so tempting, but that's purely from my point of view to say I want to keep more mana next turn for my brain geyser. Then again, he's under pressure.
Then again, he doesn't really have an. And this is the scary thing with red. Even if it's at 16, that is not a safe life total. He really, if he can get the chance to play a moat.
I hope he can find that other white source, right, and play the moat to just get some pressure off that he can kind of start building.
And here's the fun thing about Singleton, since Chaos Orb has been used. Andrew know that Cyril has no answer for his enchantments.
Ooh, Tundra! This is going to be the Tundra. Oh man,
it's nasty. Oh, that is nasty.
Oh, that is
really brutal.
Wow, it would have been even more brutal if he would have done it the turn before. That then Andrew wouldn't even been able to cast his Divine Offering. At least he could do that. And now we're going to see a creature probably, right, for 4. Okay.
Oof.
At least Andrew still has the book to kind of go through his deck. Try to find that land.
But he is in desperate need of answers. Oh, you see Andrew's reaction.
Yeah, because that mode would be so good right now.
Especially if he drops a plains now. I feel so bad for him. He has been under 100% pressure all the time.
Yeah. But
he's
got
4.
Ghost ship or something? Yeah, ghost ship. Okay, at least that's good. Is it?
That stops the troll, but it still goes to 9.
Then he takes 5, man. Goes to 9. That's not good.
But I think he has no choice. He can't afford to chump block at this point. You still need that for 1 more turn. But Andrew can still attack and just regenerate with the troll.
Yeah, just regenerate, and he takes 5. It's if you're Cyril, it's great.
Yeah, he's doing exactly that. Down to 9.
Wow.
Now the question is, do you want to follow up with burn? If you have a fireball, you can kill the ghost ship. Nope, just passing turn.
Yeah. I was thinking about that too. Is he gonna maybe do a chain or bolt, whatever?
But you see, now the thing is, now he has 3 blue, which means that he can. Okay, never mind. He's not going.
Yeah, I know what you meant. That he can still regenerate, right, and block the Juggernaut, but he's not going to. So, this is great. Control magic.
That was a good draw. And
you talked about this. He has nothing in his deck anymore to get rid of enchantments, right? Because his Chaos Orb's in the bin. Things are looking much better now.
Oh, this is turning out interesting. We might have a game on our hands. I really, really hope Andrew takes this one so we get another game. And yeah, Juggernaut is tapped. That's correct.
That is true. Yeah. Still, he's on 9.
This means the troll can't run through. how much if you get like a lightning bolt fork something at this point, it would be it's shattering the
Unlucky. At least, I mean, but at least
I think it's not that bad. It's still a 2 for 1.
And he's got rid of his shatter, of course.
Yeah.
I think I see a Rock of Courageous in his hand. Yes, he's going to play it now. That's such a beautiful card.
That's still 1 turn without any damage taken. That is good. And the rock still dies because of the desert.
Yeah, that's true. I gotta love the desert.
He's going to keep desert up. I think he has realized that desert is actually useful at this point.
Do you know that on the Art of Sinbad, like Sinbad is holding onto the claw of the Rock of Courageous?
That I did not know.
That's
a piece of magic trivia that I did not know about.
Yeah.
What is he going to play now? Is he going to activate the tome, or is he going to make a play? Why did he tap the... I wouldn't...
Changing his mind.
Unless he has counterspell in hand, I would not tap desert. In order to, that I think is... And he still needs to discard a card.
Yeah.
That seems... Someone need...
Yeah, could you send him a text? Or did we miss something? No, we didn't miss anything. No, he didn't discard a card. He has to discard still. In the meanwhile, we see an Orcish artillery. And remember, Andrew's on 9, so that's a problem here.
No, he did not discard because the top card of his library is Control Magic.
Yeah, exactly. It's still the control from the Juggernaut, so he still needs to discard. I think he's thinking about it now, what to discard. Now he's checking his graveyard. Yeah, and he's putting a card in the bin, which is hard to see. Can you see what it is?
It's the Argivian Archaeologist.
The Archaeologist. Okay. It's such a cool card. I know it's not... You know, those are cards I love, but they're usually too slow and too clunky. And
yeah.
I get it, but...
Well, once you... face that opponent that has Chaos Orb in the graveyard, and he just keeps...
Yeah, it's great once you have the control, right? But that's a problem for Andrew for this whole game. Like, he hasn't gotten to that point where he has control of the match and he can start doing what he wants to do.
He's been under pressure from the very, very first moment.
I'm not quite sure whose turn it is at the moment. We saw, of course, Cyril casting that...
Cyril cast Orcish Artillery, so I'm pretty sure it's Andrew.
So then he passed turn, so he decided not to attack. Because what Cyril could have done is attack with both his creatures, right?
Yeah, but then Rock of Courageous would have died
to the desert, yeah.
Desert.
That's why.
I'm sure he would have get 2 damage in, but I don't think that's what you want at this point. 4 mana, what comes now?
Okay, changing his mind.
Yeah. And now the shoe is on the other foot. Now Cyril knows that Control Magic is not a threat anymore. So he can commit more creatures to the board. Since Andrew has no white mana, he is in no danger at the moment of being swept.
That is true. He's got 0 white mana. Wow, that's bad. He can now choose to say, I'm just going to keep my mana open. Okay, so he's probably going to use the book, right?
Yeah. I think if he doesn't draw proper here, we are getting close to the end of this game.
He just needs a little bit of more luck. Just a little bit, at least. I'm hoping for white mana for it. What is
Oh,
he
that's
describing?
mana drain.
Mana drain, yeah.
But that, on the other hand, is very interesting. Because
Okay, white. This is Savannah, right?
Yeah, I think so. Savannah or Scrubland, I can't tell.
At least it's a white source.
Screen.
At least it's a white source. Go, Andrew!
If he has balance at this point, that would be huge. Still, the Orcish artillery is a problem. White.
Maybe a swords? Spirit Link.
I would probably put that on the artillery.
Right? Maybe he is, right? Because he's putting it on the top.
Even though it's good, but it's not great, since the trigger happens as damage is being dealt.
Yeah, so you first get the damage right, and then you get the life. Yeah. This is something because people often, this is great, Cyril, that he puts it for us all to see. And because usually players think it's like lifelink, but it's not like lifelink.
I've made that mistake myself once. So it's happened to all of us. But at least that means he can't use it to consistently burn.
Yeah. So that plan is out of the window.
It's activated now. He will essentially give life to Andrew.
Yeah, because those 3 damage that it's going to deal to its controller, so to Cyril, that's going to mean 3 life for Andrew, right?
Yeah.
So 2 life for the initial damage, and then 3 life for the other damage, so 5 life in total, minus the 2, so he's going to be a +3.
So sad for Andrew that he had to discard the elemental earlier.
Yeah.
If he had a bigger creature that he could place his Spirit Link on and go offensive, that I think would net him even more.
Then again, we do see the book really working in terms of like Andrew is finding the answers to that kind of keeps him in the game.
Yeah, Yalum Tomi is an excellent card. It's since there are so few cards that you can use in order to gain a card advantage in this format. Sometimes just running through your deck faster is what you have to do, even if you don't gain card advantage from it. One card that I would like to see played more that I haven't seen played is Knowledge Vault from Legends.
Beautiful art. Is it Amy Weber?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. And I'm surprised I haven't seen it in a deck yet, because it is. Oh, now he wants to kill the ghost ship. They're going to shoot it with the orc, I think.
Or play a bolt or something. He's now first regenerating the Upton Troll, then playing a chain. So that means the end of the line for the ghost ship.
That's a bit surprising to me. I would probably just have given 3 life and kept Chain Lightning for further uses.
Then again, now of course he can attack with Rock of Courageous.
Yeah, but he could have done that next turn anyway if he killed him with the artillery.
True. Yeah, and then he could have kept the chain. Yeah. This is also not this is not a good sign, right? I mean, he's still trying to dig for answers.
He's under enormous pressure right now. What did he discard? White card?
I can see. It is white, but
it's white and a bit. Let me check his deck list. What could it be? It could be.
Let's see what is going to play out here.
It's a disenchant.
Icy Manipulator. Yeah, this maybe. I think it looks like a disenchant. That would make sense in this stage of the game.
I see. Yeah, that slows down the rock. So that's but still 2 damage.
Yeah, I'll take 2 from the Upton Troll. Probably. Yeah. So he says I want to go into combat. Andrew says I want to tap your rock. He's going to take 2 from the troll.
He does not have the opportunity to burn out yet. Unless he drops land and fireball and uses the orc. Nope. Nothing happens.
He's still alive.
If Andrew draws a plane and can drop a moat here, that would stabilize.
He has the moat still. True. It would be just nice if Andrew could just have a good top deck, not having to use the 2 mana, you know? Because now he's already down to 2 mana. Discarding an island.
Let's see, is this an ancestral?
That could help.
It is.
Ancestral Recall, drawing 3. If he can now find a white source, because he hasn't played a land yet. But then again, then he doesn't have, because Moat is 2 white and 2 or 2 white and 3?
2 white and 2. He would still have mana for...
this is perfect. This is perfect. Now we can play the Moat and have 1 mana untapped to tap the rock. Probably going to see Moat here. Yeah, there's Moat.
Yeah. Easy commitment to the board. That means he is safe from creatures this turn. Chain Lightning is gone, but the X-Burn spells are not.
Yeah, he's got Disintegrate, he's got Earthquake, he's got Fireball, so he still has 3 spells, I think.
Yeah. And he has used Divine Offering, so he has very little...
And he's got Detonate as well.
He really needs a Mirror Universe and not have it destroyed in order to get on a more sustainable life total.
I recently got an Italian Mirror Universe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I was playing, I was playing EDH, and I saw how good that card was in that format. But it's also good in
I have an Italian Moat on the way in the mail.
Oh, nice, sweet. Well, let's see what he's going to do now.
Let's see, he's going to activate.
Of course, start.
Yeah, he has already played Brain Geyser.
City of Brass gone. That's not going to help.
Yeah, that's easy discard at this point.
Do you think he's now really looking for that mirror?
Oh, I don't know, Whack.
That is good.
That saves him from 2 flying creatures.
He is stabilizing, right? He's getting control. This is what he wants to do. Now the life total, that's the thing.
Yeah, now he's stabilized. Now he needs pressure.
He's counting.
I think Cyril asked him, no? Or is he going to... Ooh, what is this? What is this?
Would you play a balance if you have one?
At this point...
you do lose a lot of land.
Probably not. Since with both Island of Wak and Icy Manipulator in play and Chaos Orb gone, I would probably not.
He's playing his Jade Statue, right? Yeah, I think that's his Jade Statue.
Well, that really doesn't do anything at this point, I think. I'm surprised he plays that, because he has no way of getting past his own moat. Which means that for the rest of the game, I think Jade Statue would be a dead card.
Uh-oh.
6 comes to Shivan Dragon, or Petrobus, or Triskelion.
Andrew's like...
No. What is happening? That's a Tetrobus.
Yeah, Tetrobus. Okay. I was hoping to see the Shivan, just because Shivan's such a cool creature.
That is actually a very troublesome card.
Yes, right?
Because he picks it up next to it. Oh, we saw that he actually has the Shivan Dragon in his hand. Oh, he tapped it in upkeep. He tapped the land in upkeep. Oh, Cyril was too
quick.
Island of Wak to turn it to a 0/3, which means that he can't play his big threat flyers. He needs 1 more land.
Wow.
This is a game. This is a game.
He was a little bit too quick there, too hasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have said, do you want to do something in my upkeep? Okay, now I'm going to draw, yeah.
That happens very often in the webcam play, I found out.
Yeah, true. Also, which I really like that both players do really well is showing each other how many cards they have in hand, because that's what I find really annoying about playing online. And my opponents don't do it consciously. I do it as well sometimes, but it's just something that doesn't help. Because it is important to know how many cards your opponent has.
And draw. You really need to start to see. He needs to commit a threat. Yeah, 6 mana.
He knows now to keep.
Cyril was too fast to play. Andrew has information about the Tetravus at least.
Yeah, so he's going to keep 1 mana to tap the land down.
Yeah,
1 land
so he's not going to commit the Mahmuti at this point. But can it maybe a Preacher? No, a Disrupting Scepter. That is good at this point.
It's good, yeah. And how many lands does he have? Can he activate it and keep 1 open? I don't think so, eh?
No, he cannot.
No, so that's kind of not great. So he's going to do something else? Oh, or he's going to activate it.
He's going to. Oof.
Wow. This really surprises me.
This is an interesting play.
This surprises me because he's basically saying you can play your Tetravus.
I would be very happy with that.
Does that maybe mean that Andrew has something to deal with the Tetravus?
I think maybe he is overestimating the island of Wakwak at this point. Because the issue here is if he commits Tetravus to the board and then splits it, then he suddenly has 5 flying creatures.
Yeah, exactly. So that does take another whole turn, right? So in his upkeep, he can split them up, and then they have summoning sickness, right? So he has to wait. Yeah. So it's going to take 2 turns, but still, yeah, it's a big problem. Interesting move. I really thought he's going to wait a turn because he wants to have that mana for the Icy to make sure that Cyril only has 5 lands and cannot play Shivan or his Tetravus. But he decides to use the Scepter.
Then again, if he has a proper sweeper, if it's drawn the balance at some point, then this play would be probably really good. Because if you can force Cyril to commit more creatures to the board while having activations of the Scepter.
Oh, there goes the Shivan.
Shivan. Ooh, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's his worst card.
What's the other card?
Yeah.
I think direct damage.
I think burn is a very strong possibility at this point.
And if it is burn, he's kind of forced to use it now because of that forced now. He can, of course, discard something else. Let's see. What is he going to play? Tetravus?
It's the Tetravus, yeah. He has 3 cards in hand. He can easily afford to drop.
He's just going to discard something else. He's got an Expel.
So what do we have? Cyril has 2 draws and 2 activations of the tome in order to find an answer. Of course, he can use Desert to start killing the 1/1s.
That is true. He does have the Desert.
2 damage in, and I don't think he can afford to take 3 damage at this point. That would take him to 4, which means he would be dead both to the Expels as well as Pyrotechnics.
He needs a mirror universe, right? That's still his best.
And also, he would also be dead to a Triskelion with the final activation of artillery.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, of course, a Trike. I played Trikes in a red Tron deck.
Yeah.
And it was just great because when you've got Tron active, it's just like you have extra bolts. Oh, here we see.
And what is the white card?
Wrath of God. Yeah.
Oh, then he has an answer.
Oh, wow. Yeah, now it makes sense.
That means we have, when Cyril comes back, if he commits any creature to the board, that would be That could be devastating.
I think it's very good that he has that counter spell to also stop direct damage. What's then a bit surprising is that I don't see blue elemental blast in his deck, since red is such a big threat.
Yeah, then again, that's the high risk, high reward thing you need to think about when deck building.
Yeah, because it's useless against
many other decks.
Yeah, absolutely true.
But this is really, really interesting, because I wonder what...
That's actually funny. What I see at some of our constructed tournaments is that people look at the top tier decks and they go like, okay, I'm going to build a deck that's going to do really well against these top tier decks.
Yeah.
But you always play against other decks as well. You really have to build an all-round deck. Because then, for example, in the Swiss, if you lose your first round and you've got this perfectly tuned deck against the tier 1 decks, you're just not going to see them the whole tournament.
Yeah.
It's just funny. Like, I just remember this guy that came up to me and said, I've beaten the deck with this so many times and now I've lost everything here and this and that. Okay.
Yeah.
That can happen if you focus too much.
Yeah. And I mean, even if I think that the deck is the best deck, it's also, I think, the amount of people that play it and play it well doesn't warrant
very limited
that deck, because that means you will lose against everything else. I think what you really need to have a decent matchup against whatever format you play is against aggro decks. If you can't handle aggro, you will get beaten in the Swiss.
Yeah, I have like 2 test decks. Like one is blue suicide and one is green. Just mono green aggro, and I always kind of test my decks quickly against them to see, okay.
Yeah.
And then I lose and I still take it to the tournament, but it doesn't matter.
It was fun.
But now I realize when I'm giving you this example, like, why don't I have like a red aggro burn deck as well to test it out?
But I think that's one of the real beauties with old school. I mean, most players are in their late 30s or 40s or even 50s that play the format, which means that you don't have this like cocky competitive attitude that you can find when you have a younger player base, I think. And also, since there is no serious prizes, it also means that you get this friendly competition where doing fun stuff is just as justifiable as trying to play to really win, and that is what I think is really keeping the.
Yeah, that's important to kind of keep that spirit, because I really agree with the prices as well, that they kind of stay low, like a signed card by every contender, like basic stuff like that. Okay, we've got Cyril again.
Yeah,
he's back. Welcome back. I'm gonna mute you again. Welcome back, and I'm going to mute you. Yeah, that's the kind of guy I am.
Talking about a friendly environment.
Is this Andrew's secret weapon here? He's not drinking beer or whiskey. He's got something. Milk. It looked healthy. He's ready for it. So we saw his cards now, right? So
it seems like he's going to commit.
He knows the Shivan's gone.
Is he going to commit this turn, though? He doesn't have to, but he's going to. I would probably have waited one turn.
Yes. Then again, yeah. We don't see the rest of his hand. We don't know what he just drew. Maybe he just wants to use his mana efficiently now, and the next turn use it for something else. Could that be a reason?
But he only has 1 card, and we know that.
Oh yeah, that's the counter spell.
So that surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, because he could have waited, and what would have happened is Cyril using a whole turn to get those Tetraphyte counters off.
Yeah.
Right, and basically wasting a turn.
You use the Island of Wak Wak on the...
on the rock or the Tetraphus, tap one of them down. Yeah.
If Cyril would overcommit, he would have gotten more value out of it. On the other hand, now he will have mana on his next draws and more activations on the...
that is true, and he can use his scepter again, so it makes sense. It's not like a...
Yeah, I would probably just have activated the scepter, and...
Ooh, a lot of damage. Will we see the counter spell here? Probably, right?
But I think this has to be countered.
Yeah, I mean, or else he's going to go to 3.
Or maybe he's going to be really greedy here and try to dig for Mirror Universe.
Or then now pretend, because if he's not going to counter, then probably Cyril's going to be okay. He doesn't have a counter spell. Although it doesn't,
Still, it's 3 cards in hand. Yeah, I would probably counter this and then try and get.
Or not. He is in the tank here.
Yeah, he wants to see the graveyard. Yeah, this is the important part about Singleton. So Chain Lightning is out. That's one. But Fireball is in. Disintegrate is in. Lightning Bolt is in. Pyrotechnics is in.
Man, that's a lot of damage. That's still in his deck.
And he can get rid of one more card. And this is the thing. If he hadn't committed Wrath of God to the board last turn, he could have removed one of those cards extra, take no damage, still have counter mana up.
Now he's going through his own pile. It's interesting. I never thought about it that way, but it makes sense because of Singleton. Obviously, there's only a 1-off of each, so really keeping track of the threats.
That also means that certain cards that are some are useful, some are not useful in constructed, have a lot greater value in Singleton.
So he is countering it. Yeah.
Yeah. For example, all the reanimation spells, Resurrection is a solid card because if you're only allowed to play with one Sir Angel, reusing it is very good.
And nice old-fashioned combo with Wrath of God, and later a Resurrection.
Yeah. Very religious theme here.
Yeah, man. It's the thing is, Animate Death, of course, is the better option, right? Because you can fish in any graveyard. Ooh, copy artifact here.
And
what is he gonna copy?
Not have mana for a double activation of.
Of course, emptying his hand. Does he have 6?
I'm thinking, is he going to? It seems like he's going for the Disrupting Scepter, not the Icy Manipulator. That was the Falling Star.
Yeah, Falling Star.
He had 6 mana. That makes a lot of sense. That's a second activation.
That's a pretty big deal.
That means.
Oh, now they're counting if he really had enough mana?
One of the islands was
He
hidden.
does? Yeah, he has enough mana. Yeah.
That's Lightning Bolt.
Wow. This is a really good play by Andrew here.
This will probably keep him alive because now Black
Vice, that's not going to do much.
Wheel
of Fortune. Wow. This is an exciting game.
Yeah, but that's 3 damage to the face.
Yeah, okay, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I didn't make that connection yet. You're absolutely right.
He has cards to 2 mana.
Oh, Copper. Oh, this is so brutal.
He needs to have Dust to Dust now.
Yeah, he's going to drop to 3, right? Yeah, 1 from the Copper, 3 from the Vice, because he just got a full hand, so 7.
He needs to kill the Black Vice and drop a Mirror.
And he was doing so well with this Disrupting Scepter plan. I liked it. Oh man, and there you are. Your hand is full of cards what you want in a normal situation, but not now. And the Vice and the Tablet. So Dust to Dust, right? He hasn't played that out yet, so that would be brilliant.
Think so. But it's still, let's see what burn is left. It's Fireball, Disintegrate, and Pyrotechnics, I think. And Detonate.
Come on, Dust to Dust. You can do it, Andrew. He's got so many cards in hand. It's like he's reading a book.
Yeah. a book that's currently on fire.
Yeah. Like, ah! But he's asking how many cards, because he's thinking of the X-Spell, of course. Man.
It's very dead to a burn spell.
Every time I think that Andrew is taking control of the game, something like this happens.
What is he going to do? That's a Chaos Orb.
Okay.
Yes, he can get rid of...
That's something.
Now the thing is, can he empty his hand so he can get rid of Copper Tablet with that?
I was thinking exactly the same. Can he empty his hand and then...
Thing is that the plan with the double, unless Andrew drew really bad, the plan with the double disrupting scepter is currently not as good.
And what card is this? Can you...
Steal Artifact.
Steal Artifact. Oh, so he's going to steal.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
That's a nice move.
But he's still very, very much in big trouble.
Yeah, at least he's doing something back. Of course, the chances are, pretty big, right? That Cyril just has a burn spell here and finishes the game. Because how many counter spells does Andrew still have? Mana Drain's in the bin, counter spells in the bin.
I don't think he has any counters anymore.
Right, he uses Power Sync, I believe. Maybe he has a Power Sync.
Power Sync is there, but on the other hand, does the Power Sync...
Oh, he's got so many lands, of course, Cyril.
Yeah, because he can Power Sync for 2. And if Cyril just burns for 3, it will not matter.
It would be nice for Cyril and for the viewers if you would just pass turn now.
Yeah.
Just pass turn, Cyril. You can do it.
Pass turn or just... he's asking for what's in the graveyard.
Yes, he's asking how many counter spells are in there.
This is here comes the 3 or 2 damage burn.
Uh-oh. Going to his land pile. It's not a good sign.
5, okay, that's pyrotechnics. Detonate.
Detonate.
That is it.
Detonate. So detonate on the icy for 4 damage.
Wait. He's going to Chaos Orb his...
In response. Okay. Oh, I like this. So in response, he's going to use Chaos Orb on the artifact that Cyril was targeting, which is, I believe, the icy manipulator.
Yeah.
He missed a flip already, right?
On the actual card that's going to be destroyed. That doesn't happen much over webcam.
He has to hit it here. Yes! It's a hit. That means he survives, right? Yeah.
Survives 1 turn.
Oh, man. But then again, the Copper Tablet is still around.
Yeah, he still needs to remove the Copper Tablet. But he can remove the Copper Tablet and drop Greater Realm. Then he is still safe for 1 more turn.
He's like a cat in a corner, right? He's just constantly doing stuff to try to stay alive or get out of the corner, but so he needs to take the damage, I guess.
Black-white still targets Andrew, even if stolen.
Oh, really?
That seems...
That is interesting. Hey, that could be very true. Then he's dead already, because you've got Copper Tablet and the Vice. But this is an interesting rules question.
Yeah, I have to check that one up. That's an interesting interaction I have never heard about.
I assumed, like you did as well, I guess, is when you take control of it, it's going to target the other player. It targets the opponent.
See what Black-Wise does. As Black-Wise enter the battlefield, choose an opponent. At the beginning of the show, players upkeep Black-White. Yeah,
you choose an opponent, so then you target. Oh, that is pretty sweet. Well, not now, but...
Yeah.
Oh, man, how can Andrew...
Then, didn't he die then?
I think he did. Let's wait and see. I think last turn I saw him take an extra damage because he went to 1, from 3 to 1, so maybe that was it. Look at this mirror universe. Yeah, maybe we can... Are you sending him a message?
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Yeah, to ask him? Because then he would make a different decision as well. Although, what could he have done? So this is something that actually happens often when you do streams. If you see a little mistake or a little rules question, and it's quite difficult to sometimes communicate with the players. So in this case, for example, we asked Cyril and Andrew just to keep a lookout for the chat. Okay, so he's saying he's taking damage. Okay, so he's on 1 now.
Yeah.
So that's good. So we're still in.
That means you get triggers on the stack. That means, if he gets an activation now.
He's using,
If Andrew doesn't have a kill this turn.
I cannot see him surviving this. He needs to get rid of the copper tablet, right? That's the main thing.
Yeah, no, he needs an activation from the mirror universe. That's the only thing that can save him.
While the copper tablet damage is still on the stack.
That's an Halo pile. That's it. That is it.
And the Brothers of Fire. He is so incredibly dead.
That was a really good game.
Well,
Really good game.
that was an amazing game, though. That was a really amazing game.
Yes.
So we've unmuted the players.
Well played.
Yep.
It was a very interesting game. I'm sorry about all the disconnections, but I won everyone for this.
Yeah, not a problem. Well done.
What an amazing set of game, guys. Even though it's only 3.
Oh, I did put the sound off. Sound on.
Of course, there he goes. Oh, incredible.
Let's see when we can get Cyril back. I really want to ask him about the play in the second game.
The whole match, Andrew, like Cyril is just putting you under pressure the whole time. Right, Andrew? Did you feel that too? That you just had pressure?
I don't think he can hear you. Oh, maybe he can.
Me? Or
yeah. Can you hear
I
me?
can't hear.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I've unmuted one of you. Hold on. Yeah, well, sorry, I can hear everybody now.
Okay, yeah, I asked, like, because you were just under pressure the whole time. You were like a cat in a corner. Did you feel it that way as well, or were you...
Not really. I thought I had answers. I just didn't draw any of the answers. I mean, I was sort of a car behind on a lot of the things. So Spirit Link was a good answer for game 2, but I had to play it on one of his creatures. I mean, you tell me, did I make any play mistakes?
Well, Eric, did he? I didn't really see any.
Let's see. Oh, wait. There was one play that I think the Wrath of God play in the last turn was questionable because since the Tetravites have summoning sickness, you could have saved the Wrath of God for one more turn and activated the Disrupting Scepter and take another card out of...
I didn't think about that. So, do the Tetravices have summoning sickness when he moves them off?
Yeah, when he takes them off. So then that would have given you an extra turn. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know that. I'm looking at my cards. What was coming though? I don't think an extra turn would have mattered because I'd lost a lot of answers.
The thing was the Wheel of Fortune is what really wrecked you.
Yeah, I think maybe the most questionable thing was me. I probably should have held the counter spell and let the earthquake resolve.
Yeah, we were discussing that as well.
I think that's the thing that probably was my biggest mistake.
Just because if it
had
doesn't
lightning
kill
bolt
you,
in hand, so
I would have had to have played it anyway.
Yeah,
because he would have bolted me.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have made a difference. But probably in hindsight, I should have kept it and then played it if he bolted me. So at least had something left.
Yeah, but
that's the tricky thing with Burn. There's so few solid life gain cards. It's very hard to be at a stable life total, I think. Oh, now we have Cyril back.
Yeah, I'm back for the last time.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Well played to Andrew.
Last game was a banger to watch.
Yeah, it was very interesting games. Andrew packs a lot of strong cards, a lot of card advantage with Wrath of God, Dust to Dust, Disc, etc. And he didn't draw a bunch of those cards. I mean, he drew them, but I was fortunate enough not to be in a bad situation where I got dragged by Wrath of God, and I also paid attention to not overextend myself, regardless to artifacts, because I know Dust to Dust is very strong. So I tried to avoid strong cards, and I felt like I also got lucky by naturally avoiding them.
I think you just got him low as well pretty quickly. You had that Copper Tablet game 1. Was it Ankh of Mish or was it game 2, I think?
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah.
Man.
I had the Black Vise in game 3 as well. At one point, I had all my artifacts that deal damage. Ankh, Black Vise, and Copper Tablet. And those are the kind of card I rely upon to have reach for the control matchups, such as this one.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question about a specific play, though. In the second game, Andrew had Mirror Universe in play, and you decided to attack with the Tetravus, even though you know he would get an activation out of it, dropping him from 12 to 8. What was the reasoning behind that attack? Okay, so I want him to sacrifice the Mirror Universe now. I don't want him to... I mean, the only play I want him to make is not to have a choice to sack it now. So I need for him to be low enough, but not too low enough. And so I know I can inflict myself some damage with Orcish Artillery and Brothers of Fire, and the extra point with the Mana Burn, which I did. So what ended up happening is, like, he was at 12, and I attacked, put him down at 8. I was at 20, and when it was his upkeep, and he tried to switch life, I managed to go down to as 12, which was his previous life total. So he just basically gained one turn. He survived one turn with his Mirror Universe. He was on 12 during my turn, and I attacked him to 8, and then he switched life, and he was on 12. So it just fogged me with his Mirror Universe that way. Okay, so that was the reason. It's interesting to hear. We were having a discussion, me and Timmy, when that play was made, the reasoning about it, but it's really nice to hear what the thought process was.
The artillery is just really good in that situation. Being able to deal yourself 5 damage by tapping an orc. Basically, so you deal him 5 damage because of that mirror. That's great.
Yeah, that's exactly this. Like, I was thinking about the tempo, and I knew that by only attacking for 4 damage, if he doesn't use the Mirror Universe, he's dead.
It's the same way, actually, I've seen people doing that as well, but then with a Side Blast, where you Side Blast yourself and you take 6, and then you mirror, which is also quite nice.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted to thank you guys for letting me stream this, and thank you, Eric, for the commentary.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, man. And see you guys soon, I guess. And thanks everybody for watching.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Cheers.